Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, Crafting and Crime Daily. I'm your host, Rebecca, aka Crafting Journey, and I recap live trials. But since I did the Saturday episode, which was Friday's testimony in the Chad Daybell case, which is the current trial that I'm covering, I have a free day today. So I'm going to talk to you about a new case. Yes. And this one is local, not far from me. If this ever goes to trial, and I'm sure it will, because there are 5 people incarcerated related to the deaths of 2 women missing, that they went missing from Kansas on March 30th, just a few weeks ago, not very long ago at all. And I was interested in this because, it happened like 4.5 hours west of me. If it ever does go to trial, and when it goes to trial, I'm going to rent a car and I'm going to go there for the trial and I'm going to cover it for you live. Yes. How cool would that be? Anyway, I hope the major networks pick up, like Court TV or Law and Crime. If not, I'll see if they have a Zoom that we can cover, something that you guys can see, some of the footage from this trial. But this has to do with the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Yeah, so I'm going to cover that today. If you already know about it, you might not know all the details, and I've got the details. So I'm just looking at my hair. My God, if you ever want to know what the weather is going to be like, just look at my hair. It's like 100% humidity. We're expecting this afternoon like the worst storm so far this season. Yeah. I was told by the weatherman to make sure you have your weather app open and on all day. It already is, but we'll see. I'll let you know tomorrow if I haven't been blown away by a tornado. Want to see my shirt? Here, I'll show you. I pretend coffee helps, but yeah, I'm still a bitch. I think my bestie got me that. She knows me well. And I've got my coffee. Yes, pink. Pink is the theme here. Anyway, let's talk about this. So on March 30th, Veronica Butler, 27 years old, she's the mom of 2 children, her ex-husband, Wrangler Rickman. They have been fighting over custody of these 2 kids since back in February of 2019. 5 years this has been going on, this custody battle. And she had supervised visitation of her 2 children. So every Saturday, she was allowed to see her 2 children with somebody. And generally, her ex-husband, Wrangler Rickman, he had full custody of the kids. But at the time this occurred, he was in drug rehab. So the kids are with grandma. Yes, and her name is Tiffany Adams. So the court had issued an order that Veronica could visit those kids on Saturdays supervised. It could either be with a woman by the name of Cheryl Brune, which was grandma's choice of who she wanted to supervise the visitation, but grandma would have to pay for it. Or it could be one of 3 people that were approved in Kansas, and Veronica would have to pay for it. So on this particular day, Veronica had arranged with grandma, Tiffany Adams, to get the kids, but she said, Miss Adams said, nope, Miss Brune is not available today. So you're going to have to provide the supervisor. She's like, no problem. She planned to bring Jillian Kelly, 39 years old Jillian Kelly. So, but then she's going to have to pay for it. So all the arrangements are made. They're going to meet at 10 a.m. at the corner of Highway 95 and State Road or County Road 64, which is the location of this little, probably convenience store is called Four Corners. So they're going to meet there at 10 a.m. So Veronica goes to Hugoton, Kansas. Now, if you look at the map of Kansas, Hugoton, Wichita, I'm in Wichita, which is like right in the middle of the state. Hugoton is like in the northwest corner. It's a little tiny town in the northwest corner. And then right below that is the Panhandle. Oklahoma goes, it's square, except for up here, it has like a little panhandle, kind of like Florida does. So Hugoton, you can just drive down into the Panhandle of Oklahoma, which is where the kids were. So she picks up Jillian Kelly, and they start traveling down to Oklahoma to meet up with Grandma and the kids. So they arrive about 9:40 a.m. and their cell phones stop pinging. Turned off about 9:42. Cell phones disconnected. And their vehicle is found at the corner of 95 and Road L, which is 5 miles north of where they were supposed to meet Grandma, Ms. Adams. So Veronica's plan that day was after she picked up the kids, she was going to take her daughter to this birthday party. I don't know what the names of the kids are or how old they are. We're going to find out one of these days. But she planned to bring her daughter to this birthday party. Well, she doesn't show up. So her family members, Melissa and Joey Padilla, they're like, what? This is strange. Let's go look for her. So they go looking for Veronica, and they find her vehicle where I just told you they were, 5 miles north of where they were supposed to meet Mrs. Adams. But there's no sign of Veronica or Jillian. So this is right around noon. 9 minutes after noon, they call 911. They're like, hey, we found, they tell the police what's going on. The police contact the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation because when they get out there, the police get out there, they find the vehicle, but no sign of any humans or bodies. Nobody's out there. They're in the middle of nowhere. Like this, trust me, this is middle of nowhere. So they find blood on the edge of the roadway and in the roadway. They find a pair of glasses in the roadway. And right near these glasses is a broken hammer. And they also find Jillian Kelly's purse. Now, inside this purse is a magazine, a pistol magazine, but they don't find the pistol. They don't find the phones. Nope, no bodies, no pistol, no phones. They're gone. So, like I said, Oklahoma Bureau of State Investigation, OSBI, they get involved, and they're like knocking on Mrs. Adams' door. That's the first place they go to interview, of course, because she's supposed to meet up with the kids. So Mrs. Adams said, well, this is on a Saturday because her visitations was Saturday. She was allowed to visit those kids every Saturday, supervised. So Mrs. Adams tells the investigator, well, last night, the Friday night before this, the kids and her son, Wrangler Rickman, the kid's father, had spent the night over with Barrett and Lacey Cook. And that she had planned on picking the kids up that morning and taking them to the visit. But when she calls Veronica at 9 a.m. to confirm the visitation that day, she says, oh, Veronica told me that something came up and she was not going to make it. Now, at 9 o'clock, when she says that she called her, they get the phone records, and the phone records do show a phone call to Veronica at that time. But also at that time, location services indicate Veronica's phone is in Hugoton, Kansas, picking up Jillian Kelly that was going to supervise the visitation. She hadn't canceled that visitation. Yeah, interesting, huh? And then Mrs. Adams' grandma says, oh, I've been home this whole time. I'm at home. I was at home. She said she did pick up the kids shortly before noon at the cook's. She went over to the cook's house and got the kids and came back home. So the next interview, OSBI goes over and they knock on the door of Cheryl Brune, the woman that Mrs. Adams always chose to supervise the visitations. And she was, because she was told she was not available. She goes, yeah, I was available. But Mrs. Adams told me she didn't need me for a couple of weeks, told me to take a couple of weeks off. So I did. Okay. So, like I said, they get the phone records for Jillian's phone and Veronica's phone, and they stop communicating at 9:42. The phones just go off. You know, if you shut them off, power them off, or destroy them or whatever, they're off, and they're never found. At 9:42, they turn off. So then the OSBI investigator, he goes to the courthouse and he's looking at the child custody file, which is pretty thick because it goes back to February of 2019. They've had multiple hearings on this, and he finds a recording of the children's father, Wrangler Rickman. And on this recording, he's saying that his mother, Tiffany Adams, had made multiple death threats against Veronica. Together with her boyfriend, Tad Cullum. Not Veronica's boyfriend, but grandma's boyfriend, Tad Cullum, had made death threats to Veronica. So there were recent motions in that file indicating that Veronica's attorney had filed these motions saying she wanted unsupervised extended time for visitations and was likely going to get it. That hearing on those motions was set for April 17th, so just a couple of weeks after she disappeared. Yeah. They start to look into Dad, and they find also in this file that, you know, he had full custody of these kids, but Grandma would refuse to give him the kids. He'd come over and she'd say, "No, you're not taking them." He called police on one time on his mom, and the police told him, "You know, they're better off with Grandma. You should just go away." They left him with Grandma, even though he had legal custody of these kids. Anyway, so then they interviewed, OSBI goes over and they interview Wrangler Rickman's grandma, not his mother, Tiffany Adams, but the grandma, Debbie Knox Davis. And she says that back in mid-February, she was told by Wrangler that Mom, this is confusing, Wrangler told her that his mother had said, "You don't have to worry about custody much longer, that she had it under control." That she knew that which path the judge took to get to work. And in another statement she made, "We'll take Veronica out at the drop-off," which I think is what they did. Yeah. Anyway, so the police start looking into, they want to see this Wrangler Rickman. They want to interview him, right? Where is he? In drug rehab. He's not available. So they didn't interview him. Anyway, on April 1st, they get a search warrant for Grandma, Ms. Tiffany Adams' phone. And they look at they do a complete cell phone extraction, and they can see all of her Google searches. And her recent Google searches include taser pain level, gun shops, prepaid cellular phones, and how to get someone out of their house. Now, all four of these things become relevant here in a little while. All four of those searches. There's a lot of very damning evidence against Grandma in this case. So then they go and interview they go over to this house of Cora and Kobe Twombly, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing it. It's spelled Twombly. Cora, it's a very small town, like I said. Cora and Kobe Twombly, and they're not home, but they're interviewing the children. There's a 16-year-old, their daughter, and her brother, and they're interviewing these kids. And this 16-year-old, she had a lot to say. Mom is part of this organization, this anti-government organization, and the other people in it are Grandma, Tiffany Adams, her boyfriend, Tad Cullen. I'm getting all these names mixed up. So Grandma, Tad Cullum, the cooks, the ones I mentioned before, she said they were at the cook's house, The cooks, they're in this organization. And this other guy named, what was his name? Grice, Grice. Yeah, they're all in this little, it's like they meet, they have regular meetings either at Mrs. Tiffany Adams' home or at the Twombly home. Yeah, this is what mom's up to. I can't believe they got all this out of a 16-year-old. Anyway, so she said, well, I overheard some of their conversations. And apparently the whole thing with the custody was because it was alleged that Veronica was not protecting the children from her brother, who is alleged to have been sexually abusing the children. That's what it's all about. So that's, or at least this is what the 16-year-old heard. Oh, Paul Grice is the name of the other person in this organization. So she says that she overheard that her mom and dad, Cora and Kobe, that Tiffany Adams and her boyfriend, Tad Cullum, and this guy, Paul Grice, were all involved in murders of Veronica and Jillian. So she said that Tiffany Adams provided her parents with burner phones, and that she saw those two phones on her mom's nightstand. So that's how she knows. Oh, they named their organization God's Misfits. See, another crime in the name of religion, right? Okay. So she was told by her parents, this 16-year-old, that on the morning of their disappearance, March 30th, just a few weeks ago, we're not going to be home that morning. And they weren't. She wakes up, they're not there. And they get home around noon. And they had, one of them was in a blue and gray Chevy pickup truck that they owned. And then they had borrowed a relative's blue flatbed truck. And then they get home and they tell CW, her name's CW, initials, go clean the inside of that vehicle. Okay. So CW says to her mom, what happened? And she says, well, things didn't go as planned. But you don't have to worry about Veronica. We don't have to worry about Veronica anymore. So apparently her mom told her that, she and her husband, mom and dad blocked the road so that Tiffany and Jillian had to stop. And then they were diverted over to where Tiffany Adams, her boyfriend, and this Paul Grice are standing. Yeah. That's a lot of information. A lot of information. So CW says to her mom, well, did you put him in a well? And she goes, well, something like that. CW overheard a lot of conversations that she's going to be in. I don't know how they're going to do her as a witness because she's a minor. Although by the time she gets to trial, by the time this gets to trial, she might be 18 by then, because it always takes a few years for these things to get to trial. Although this is a very small town in Oklahoma, so it might not take as long. Anyway, so apparently CW is telling them there had been a prior attempt on, they had tried to do this once before. All five of them, they go up to where Veronica lives, and she refuses to come out of her house, which matches up to that Google search, how to get someone out of their house. She wouldn't come out of her house. But they had planned on that occasion, they were going to throw an anvil through Veronica's windshield and then try to make it look like, a passing truck had hit her windshield and, she died. So then this OSBI guy who's getting all this information from the daughter and her brother, he's interviewing the brother as well. I don't know what her brother had to add, but he's interviewing them. And mom and dad come home. And they're like, he gets out of the truck. Dad gets out of the truck. He's wielding a pistol. He's got his pistol in his holster. And he's like, according to this investigator, they were being very aggressive. And they were quite upset that he was interviewing those kids. I'll bet. Don't they have to have permission from the parents to interview the kids? I don't know. But they got the interview anyway. Yeah. So then they do a search of local gun shops. Now, the closest town to where this incident happened, where the vehicle was found, is a little town called Guymon, Oklahoma, Guymon, Guymon, Oklahoma. It's just a mile or so from where they were found, or where the vehicle was found. So they find this gun shop called the Big R Gun Store. Well, Tiffany Adams had gone on March 23rd, a week before the disappearance, gone to this gun shop and purchased 5 tasers, 5 taser guns, one for each person, right? Makes sense. Then on February 13th, which is, a month before that, a month before or close in time to that other attempt, she had gone to Walmart and purchased 3 burner phones. These are just those prepaid phones that you get. You use the minutes on them and then you throw them away. 3 burner phones. And so they got the phone numbers for these 3 burner phones, and they found that they did a location search, cell tower location search, and they found that all 3 phones were near the location of where that vehicle was found on that day. They also found that those phones were initially powered on at the residence of Grandma Tiffany Adams's boyfriend, Tad Cullum. They were powered on at his house. And then 2 of those phones on the morning of the disappearance, March 30th, were at the Trumbley residence, CW's mom and dad at their residence. That's at 10:05 and 10:16. And then from 10:16 to 10:35, 2 of the phones are at a property that's owned by a guy named James Beasley. Now, it's a large piece of property. He didn't have anything to do with this murder that I'm aware of, but he owns the property where these phones are found. So they go out to this property, and there's a dam out there, and there's a big pasture, and there's dam, and near this dam there's fresh dirt. So the investigator goes out and he moves this underneath the dam. He moves this large piece of concrete, and he sees a fresh hole that's been dug. It's underneath a pile of hay. He has to move the hay, and they see this hole has been dug and then covered in. And what do you think they find? Yep. The bodies of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. I really feel sorry for both of them, but I really, really feel sorry for Jillian Kelly. I mean, she's just doing her job. She's getting paid. She's going to go supervise this visitation. Easy money on a Saturday. Nice little drive down to Oklahoma Panhandle. I'll be there and back, in no time. I'm going to go to a little birthday party, and they end up dead. So immediately after all this investigation, sometime in April, these 4 individuals are arrested. They are charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit both of those murders of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. The people arrested were Grandma, yes, Tiffany Adams, her boyfriend, Tad Cullum, and CW's parents, Cora and Kobe Twombly. They're arrested. Then later on, after they, I guess, confirm this Paul Grice is involved, he is arrested as well. So 5 people going to be on trial for the murders of these 2 women. So I thought all of this was really fascinating and, sad. So I just wanted to read to you the obituary that I found about Veronica. Veronica Claire Butler. She was born February 28th, 1997. She was a compassionate soul who touched the lives of many with her kindness and unwavering dedication. Veronica passed away on April 14th, 2024. Now, that's when her body was found. She probably died on March 30th. She was born February 28th to her parents, Clinton and Amanda. She and Tracy Lee Pites began their journey together February 13th, 2019, where they became quite the duo over the last 5 years. They shared many memories and enjoyed going fishing. Their most recent purchase of a date night fun car for them to enjoy. Veronica's journey was one defined by her passion of caring for others. As a CNA, certified nursing assistant, she devoted herself to ensuing the well-being of residents in various nursing homes where her hard work and efforts never went unnoticed. She was bettering herself by currently attending Seward County Community College to become a surgical technician. A talented cook learning from her mother at a young age, Veronica's culinary skills delighted the community when she acquired Sunflower Nutrition. Her homemade biscuits and gravy were a local favorite, bringing joy to all who had pleasure of tasting her creations. Veronica's creative flair extended beyond the kitchen as she added her touch to the heart of Hugoton, making a significant impact on those she came in contact with. Beyond her professional achievements, Veronica found true joy in simple pleasures like cooking, gardening, dancing in the kitchen at 3 a.m. with Tracy, and baking and basking in the beauty of the great outdoors alongside her beloved family. She epitomized warmth and generosity, always ready to offer a listening ear, a comforting presence to those around her. Her personality of love and humor, similar to a sunflower and hurricane mix, is something that will be missed all by those who knew her. She was adored by so many who crossed her path. Now, these are her two children, Cole and Kendall. They were her world from the day they were born. She thoroughly enjoyed her time being their mother. That was her greatest and most treasured title. Time spent with them consisted of snuggles, learning, mom's touch of cooking, reading books to them, playing mini games outdoors, including tag, bubbles, and water balloon fights. Her love for them ran deep, and that will be forever treasured. Her love for Jesus was untouched, and her being a dedicated member of the Hugoton Assembly of God Church was something that will be missed. She was a faithful servant to her Lord by helping with 180 youth on Wednesday nights, and she helped with blessing bags. From her early childhood, she was involved in church and followed Jesus. Veronica will be deeply missed by all who had the privilege of knowing her. She is survived by her devoted fiance, Tracy Pites, her cherished children, Cole and Kendall, her mother, Amanda, and her stepdad, Seth, father, Clinton Butler, and stepmother, Lupe. Then Jillian Kelly's obituary. Beloved 39-year-old Jillian Dolores Kelly went to be with her Heavenly Father on April 14th, 2024. Now, again, I don't know why they're using that as the date of death. Probably the date they were found. I'm pretty sure they were murdered on March 30th. She was born on June 3rd, 1984, to her loving and adored parents, Theodore Joe and Kelly Ann Dalby. Jillian and Heath Whitney Kelly married on October 11th, 2002 in Nebraska. To this beloved marriage, she had 4 children: Jalen Grace, Alexis Joanne, Derek Whitney, and Tyler Joe. Those who knew Jillian will always remember her alongside her beloved husband Heath and their 4 cherished children. Her family was her pride and joy, and her unwavering love for them knew no bounds. A devoted wife and mother, Jillian's gentle soul and pure heart were unparalleled. Her presence radiated warmth, making everyone feel valued and loved in her midst. Jillian led a life dedicated to her faith and service to others as a devoted Christian woman and pastor's wife. This was the pastor's wife? What? Oh my God. She filled the role of the First Christian Church of Hugoton's secretary with grace and compassion. Jillian's influence extended to the younger generation through her leadership at Wednesday Night Olympian and Gopher Buddies Children's Church, where she nurtured the spiritual growth of children and guided them in their relationship with the Lord. Beyond her roles within the church and her family life, Jillian found joy in simple pleasures, whether traveling with Heath and their children, cheering on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, or feeling the exhilaration of riding her hot rod motorcycle. Jillian lived life with her infectious smile that brightened the world around her. Her proudest accomplishments were not found in accolades or recognition, but in the love she shared with her family. attending every sporting event for her children at the Hugoton Middle School and High School exemplified her unwavering support and dedication as a mother. This is very sad. As we mourn the loss of Jillian on earth, we find solace in knowing that she will greet us in heaven when our time comes to an end here on earth. While our heart aches with grief, we all celebrate the beautiful life she lived. Oh, my God. So sad. Anyway, really sad. But I wanted you guys to be cognizant of it so that when it does go to trial, I'm going to go cover the trial. I miss going to the courthouse every day. I'm putting on my dress. You know, I always wore, what was the brand? Ann Taylor. My Ann Taylor dress, do my hair, curling iron. My hair hasn't seen a curling iron in 5 years. Curling iron, heels. I don't have any heels. Have to be flats now. But I'm going to go to the courthouse. I'm going to cover it for you. All right, guys. That'll be 2 years from now. Who knows what I'm going to be doing 2 years from now? Playing Xbox or something. Who knows? All right. Have a wonderful Monday. I'll be back tomorrow with more of whatever occurs today in the Chad Daybell case. I think one of the police investigators is on the stand. So that's going to be interesting, right? I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.